你叫他一撞，头倒车撞好几个人了。
我不能拍的？你没拍到你没拍到
Recently, a series of vicious incidents have attracted widespread attention in China. Among them, a serious off-road vehicle collision at the sports center in Guangzhou District, Zhuhai City, Guangdong Province has become the focus of public attention. The accident caused 78 deaths and injuries, shocking the whole country and further intensifying social emotions. The incident soon alerted Zhuhai, where Communist Party General Secretary Xi Jinping issued instructions calling for all-out efforts to treat the injured, handle the aftermath appropriately, and strengthen social stabilization efforts. Huang Kunming, secretary of the Guangdong Provincial Party Committee, convened a meeting to deploy province-wide efforts to identify conflicts and rectify social security. According to informed sources, a comprehensive mapping of the 4 have-nots and 5 failures has been launched in several communities in Zhuhai. It's reported that the 4 have-nots refer to people with no spouse, no children, no job or stable income, and no property or other assets. The 5 failures refers to the group of people who have experienced investment failures, disappointment in life, relationship failures, psychological imbalance, and mental anomalies. Community workers conducted door-to-door surveys to register the basic information of these people so that they could be further monitored and managed. At the same time, parking lots in major shopping malls, government agencies, and entertainment venues in Zhuhai have also strengthened safety inspections to prevent vehicle collisions. Some residents in Zhuhai said that the vicious incident had exposed the inadequacy of safety measures in sports centers and other public places. The community is currently taking extra precautions, including installing stone piers or barriers at the entrance of important places. In addition, residents are reminded to be vigilant and to avoid crowded places as much as possible. One resident also said, although this is an emergency measure to respond to the incident, it feels that the scope of the screening is very wide and almost everyone could be included in the definition of the 4 have-nots or 5 failures. Interestingly, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs' regular press conference on November 13th, a reporter asked a question about the drive-by incident in Zhuhai, and the spokesperson responded that China has one of the safest and lowest criminal crime rates in the world. Reuters asked whether the car ramming incident in Zhuhai has attracted a lot of international attention, and there have been a number of similar incidents in China recently. Will this affect China's attractiveness to foreign tourists and others? As far as we know, there are no foreign casualties in this case. I would like to point out that China is one of the safest countries in the world with the lowest crime rate. The Chinese government has been and will continue to take effective measures to fully safeguard the people's lives and social stability, and will, as always, effectively protect the safety of all foreigners in China. Not only in Zhuhai, but other cities have also seen a series of conflicts that have aroused public concern recently. Outsiders have also observed that the anger of the Chinese people is rising these days. On November 11th, an urban management law enforcement clash occurred in Fuzhou City. According to online news, an urban management enforcement vehicle was surrounded by a large number of residents who slapped the hood of the vehicle and demanded that the law enforcement officers get out of the vehicle. The scene was tense for a while, and police intervened to try to calm the situation. Witnesses said the incident may be related to a dispute between city management and traders. Eventually, police arrived at the scene to maintain order and took both sides to the police station for mediation. An incident in Guangzhou, Fujian province also raised concerns. A man was accused of assaulting a police officer and forced to the ground after a few words of dispute with a traffic police officer. His wife quickly fell to her knees to plead with the police, crying, "Please don't be so picky." On the 11th in Guangzhou, after a traffic police brigade seized 12 electric motorcycles, the brigade leader was choked and unfortunately died. In the early morning of the 12th, there was news that a Chinese Communist Party official was attacked in a parking lot near Shanghai Hongqiao high-speed railway station. The online video showed that the staff at the scene prevented onlookers from filming, which aroused public discussion. The specific details of this incident have not been disclosed, but it's become the focus of public opinion. Some netizens believe that when justice isn't served and officials protect each other in today's China, people's discontent is building up. Similar, random, retaliatory terror attack incidents will become more and more frequent in the future. In addition, college students have begun to express their demands through practical actions. Recently, the night ride to Kaifeng, which originated from Guangzhou University, has attracted widespread attention. Initially, the event was started by 4 female college students from Guangzhou who rode to Kaifeng at night to eat steamed soup dumplings. But it grew rapidly in just a few months, expanding from the participation of a few people to the response of many places across the country. By last weekend, the 50-kilometer section of Guangzhou to Kaifeng attracted at least 200,000 people to ride bicycles. Although this unprecedented collective activity had no clear political demands, its form and influence aroused the high vigilance of the authorities. A video of a monologue uploaded by a participant triggered widespread discussion. A university student confessed that the common plight of contemporary young people and their dissatisfaction with reality are reflected behind this night ride activity. He said the participants mostly chose to travel on shared bikes due to financial distress, and they couldn't afford vacation trips, social entertainment, or even a basic material life. The college student said, 90% of our college students and families are poor, so poor that they can't travel on vacation. So poor that they can only ride 50 kilometers in the middle of the night just to eat a cage of steamed soup dumplings. He also mentioned that the current education and social system mold young people into obedient machines, but after graduation they are faced with meager salaries and a bleak future. He said frankly that this ride may be the only opportunity for them to express themselves freely. He also noted, the counseling police told us not to participate or we would be disciplined. But we still decided to go out because it may be the only chance in our lives to do something unrecognized in a crowd and not be punished. Wu Renhua, an expert in documentation and a witness to the June 4th incident, believes that although the event didn't have a clear political demand, it was an expression of young people's pursuit of freedom and their dissatisfaction with the status quo. He points out that similar non-political rallies may accumulate energy for future social movements. The scale of such activities and the number of participants are precisely why the CCP authorities are eager to curb them. He further pointed out that even if the ride ended up being suppressed by the authorities, its significance still cannot be ignored. Participants experienced freedom of movement and felt collective power during the ride, which is crucial for future ideological enlightenment. In the course of the action, young people began to understand what freedom is, and they will cherish this rare feeling even more. Other analyses suggest that with the major social evils in Zhuhai diverting public attention, and Xi's instructions on stability maintenance, the night ride to Kaifeng and the reflections it brought may be quickly suppressed. Authorities are expected to further tighten control over universities and society to prevent similar activities from forming a wider social movement. Meanwhile, a newly released report on China's income revealed serious income imbalances, raising concerns about potential instability in the social structure. It's shocking that 600 million people in the country make less than $484. A few days ago, the data report was released. This data reflects the employment and payroll situation. One set of data is very eye-catching. Don't need to pay personal tax personnel accounted for more than 70%. From this, we can see the income status of the people. After our personal tax threshold was raised from $484 to $691.6, the number of people who pay personal tax has dropped from 157 million to 65.12 million. The number of people earning $484 to $691.6 per month is nearly 100 million. Only 65 million people earn more than $691.60 a month, and about 45 million people earn between $691.60 and $1,383 a month. There are about 720 million employed people in my country. From the data just now, we can see that there are more than 600 million people with a monthly salary of less than $484. Among the remaining less than 30% of taxpayers, more than 60% of them are subject to the lowest tax rate of 3%. People with an annual income of more than $138,000 only account for 1% of the people who file. People with an annual income of less than $13,800 do not need to pay personal income tax. It's estimated that there are about 12 million people with an annual income between $13,800 and $20,000, and there are only 8 million people with an annual income of more than $20,000. People with an annual income of more than $138,000 only account for 1% of the number of people who file, less than 1 million. Isn't it amazing? So, in the current environment, everyone should cherish their income and see which level they belong to. In China's population of 1.4 billion, an analysis says more than 85% of households earn no more than $6,900 a year, a disturbing percentage. What's even more shocking is that the number of people earning less than $276.65 a month is more than 900 million nationwide. These large groups of people are struggling to make ends meet, wandering about in desperate plight and struggling just to survive. It's deplorable that despite their meager income, many people are unwilling to admit their financial predicament. They force a smile in front of others and maintain that fragile dignity with a smile. Poverty becomes an unspeakable secret, and they are afraid of the outside world's gaze and of being pitied or belittled. Financial scholar He Jiangbing pointed out that the number of low-income people may be much higher than the reported figure. Currently, the slowdown in economic growth has highlighted the phenomenon of collective return to poverty, with the middle-income group in particular being hit hard. Compared with the original low-income group, the middle-income group faces higher economic pressure due to the gap between consumption and economic expectations. And the economic slowdown has further weakened their livelihood security and income growth expectations. Li Tatian, a socialist at Tsinghua University, also said that China's income distribution is seriously imbalanced, and this pyramid structure poses a huge challenge to social stability. According to Li Tatian, unlike the international olive-shaped social structure, China hasn't formed a real middle class, only a middle-income group. The vulnerability of this income group is particularly pronounced in the context of the downward economic trend, making it difficult to reverse the reality of returning to poverty. China's job market is currently under increased pressure, with young people and rural migrant workers in particular finding it more difficult to adapt to the urban job market. Low-income people tend to be concentrated among rural migrant workers in cities, and urban low-income groups constituting a large income base. At the same time, Li Tatian pointed out that some of the ultra-rich who have become rich through illegal or gray income still exist in society, and these incomes are not included in the statistics, leading to an underestimation of the income gap in the statistics. Li Tatian said China's employment dilemma has become a serious issue. The low employment rate and unstable job demand have made it difficult to satisfy the growing labor force, a dilemma further exacerbated by the impact of the economic downturn on income distribution. In addition to the employment dilemma, a large number of houses across China are now facing broken mortgages every day, and many people even have to choose part-time jobs such as delivery to increase their income in order to pay off their mortgages. The pressure of having to face heavy loan repayments every month is unbearable. My house broke the mortgage payment and is now seized. In 2020, I bought a nearly 120 square foot, 4-bedroom house in Shenzhen for more than $553,300 USD. At the time, my parents put together a down payment of $179,800, and I took out a loan of more than $415,000, paying more than $2,800 a month. At the beginning of this year, I lost my job and had no source of income, so I had to stop paying my mortgage. Then, the bank called me and told me I still had nearly $415,000 in loans that I hadn't paid back. I was completely stunned at the time. I had worked hard for 4 years and had paid back a total of nearly $138,300. Since there was about $69,000 all in interest, 6 months after breaking the payment, the bank sued me, and soon the court seized my house and froze my bank card. The funniest thing is that my WeChat account, which only has a few cents, was also frozen. In addition, the court also told me that I needed to bear some costs related to the auction of the house, adding up to almost tens of thousands of dollars. A few days ago, the court informed me that my house would be auctioned off soon. The auction price is only about $387,300, which is equivalent to 70% off when I bought it. How many individuals do you think would buy a house in this market? If I were to say that I was auctioned off by someone at the starting price of $387,300, then I really wouldn't even have a place to cry. Not only did I lose my house, but now I have to pay the bank hundreds of thousands of dollars plus the previous monthly payment and down payment. I lost about $276,700 for nothing just like that.
具体怎么做，我们下个视频聊。